a United States Navy carrier, is the strike group that traveled through the Strait of Malacca on Monday. The operations and also exercises this led by the USS Ronald Reagan and some warships before entering the disputed waters. In the training included flight operations with fixed and rotary wing aircraft in the region. The group also undertook maritime strike exercises, the United States Navy said in a statement, and they also design and do also some coordinated tactical training in the territory. And this in the action which China condemns, because China considers the United States regularly sends warships through the disputed waterway, which made Beijing threaten the action. China claims 9/10 of the South China Sea region, and also through which some $4 trillion, 3.06 trillion pounds, of trade passes each year in the areas. And next, some countries as Taiwan, Brunei, Malaysia, Vietnam and the Philippines also have claims which is competing strongly in the region. These exercises are done involving several warships as well as aircraft carriers, aiming to build and maintain warfighting readiness that is responsible and flexible. The U.S. Navy also said, this exercise honors enduring commitments to mutual defense agreements with regional allies and also partners. George Wikoff said, we continue our long tradition demonstrating the United States' commitment to the lawful use of the seas, because the Navy stressed the operations were lawful. Prior to arriving in the South China Sea, at the time, the American USS Reagan was operating in the Indian Ocean before returning through the strait. However, China challenged the United States for that act, and China said the American was seriously undermining peace and stability in the territory, even in Taiwan Strait over their military big exercises and deployments. Beijing said, in a strongly worded statement at the time, they will resolutely defend the country's territorial integrity and maintain peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. Even China threatening Taiwan by force if needed, because China also considers Taiwan a disobedient province to reunited with the mainland. On the other hand, American recently has stepped up support for the island and to support what it considered an important democratic outpost in the areas. And the tensions heat up after Beijing has accused Washington and Taipei of collusion towards the island declaring formal independence, and it also has accused Washington recently ramped up Air Force activity near Taiwan, which is considered Beijing in a show of force. However, sales sophisticated military equipment to Taiwan including MQ-9 drones and a coastal defense missile system, increasing getting pushed by the White House for defense fueling further tensions in the territory.
Propsy warns these are not just a complex form of political signaling, but rather are preparations for an attack on Taiwan, with the goal being to subjugate it before the US and its allies can respond. The idea of a succession crisis is being widely disseminated by Western media agencies and even by conservative pundits like Propsy, who served as Deputy Undersecretary of the Navy under Reagan and George H.W. Bush administrations. By contrast, China's CCP government faces no such threats. There are no fears of a succession crisis in a nation that doesn't have popular elections, and no partisan enmity in a nation where any potential partisans are locked up in re-education camps, prisons, or merely exterminated. In light of the above information, it comes as small comfort to those who live in Taiwan to learn that 9,000 U.S. troops will join 37,000 of their Japanese counterparts in a joint field training exercise around Kagoshima, Japan, 26 and November 5th. Canada will also send a ship. Operation Keen Sword is the latest in a series of joint training exercises designed to increase combat readiness and interoperability of Japanese and U.S. forces, the U.S. Navy said.
And why does it matter? Because Beijing has claims the South China Sea is his, but its claims overlap with those of several other nations, and including it has been criticized several other nations for building military facilities on disputed islands. and until recently has frequently objected to United States Navy exercises and operations in the South China Sea, and then to claiming that Washington has carried out navigational hegemony, and also has driven militarization of the waterway by sending warships into the region. And next, Washington has accused China of reckless and provocative militarization of outposts in the sea, and also including engaging in a campaign of bullying against smaller regional powers in the areas. And now, what is the United States doing in the South China Sea? Now, the deployment of the USS Ronald Reagan in the region, aiming to support of a free and open Indo-Pacific, followed 2 previous such operations this year. The first operation was performed on July. The U.S. conducted air defense exercises in the South China Sea that involved by 2 carrier groups, led by the USS Ronald Reagan and the USS Nimitz at the time, and the operation coinciding with Chinese military exercises in the waters. And the second operation in August, that involving the USS Ronald Reagan, conducted flight operations and also high-end maritime stability operations there. And next, by reinterpreting an international arms control agreement called the Missile Technology Control Regime, or called MTCR. And for land-based Harpoon anti-ship missiles, made by Boeing, that aiming to serve as coastal defense cruise missiles. And this is Tuesday's other congressional pre-notification. And next, one of the sources said, the approximately 100 cruise missiles that were notified to Capitol Hill would have a cost of about $2 billion. Taiwan has 5 weapon systems that are moving through the process, that recognized by Taiwan government sources. Weapon sales under an informal review process, before the State Department sends its formal notification to the legislative branch, the United States Senate Foreign Relations, and also including House of Representatives Foreign Affairs committees have the right to review, and also block, said the sources, who are familiar with the situation but declined to be identified. Leaders of the committees were notified that the planned weapons sales had been approved by the American State Department, which oversees foreign military sales, said the sources. And on Monday, Reuters reported that informal notifications had already been sent to Congress, aiming for a truck rocket launcher, known as a high-mobility artillery rocket system, and also including long-range air-to-ground missiles called SLAM-ER, and external sensor pods mounted on F-16 jets, and this allowed the real-time transmission of imagery and data from the aircraft back to ground stations. Now, ex-Pentagon official provides support and relief, and suggests leasing F-35 stealth jets to Taiwan to ward off an invasion from Beijing. A retired Pentagon official said on October 8th, in the face of aggressive incursions by China's Air Force in the territory, the United States should help Taiwan by leasing an F-35 stealth jets. Stephen Bryan, former Deputy Undersecretary of Defense, said the Taiwanese pilots' supposed lack of ability to fly the sophisticated F-35 fighters could be helped by training them in the United States, Stephen Bryan said. Any fears of China's reaction could lead to the aircraft being kept on standby in the United States, though they would either belong to Taiwan or be leased by the island. Stephen Bryan also said, by the end of 2020, looking at its current fleet of jets, 50 of its 140 F-16 jets would be upgraded, but it still would have to wait at least for the delivery of 66 new F-16V versions to the territory. The lease of stealth the U.S. F-35 fighters would also make more financial sense than the purchase of new jets or the upgrading of all old ones, he said. And now, in the event of a conflict in the areas, Taiwan's airports would be the first target for a Chinese attack. The United States F-35 favoring the world's first supersonic short takeoff, and also vertical landing stealth jet in the region. Bryan said, as it is the US F-35 perfect for Taiwan, and also has sufficient range for the island's protection in the region, given that some of them are already based in Japan.